Marriage is meant to rest on love, respect, and compromise. Yet lately, Emma, my wife, had turned our union into a battlefield. Every disagreement turned into a contest, one she was determined to win. One evening, after a minor argument about me coming home late from work, she crossed her arms, smirked, and said, "You know what? From this moment on, no intimacy. Let's see how you manage without it." Her words cut deeper than she realized. It wasn't the intimacy itself, but the way she turned closeness into a weapon. I said nothing that night, but my silence wasn't surrender. It was the start of a plan. At first, I thought she was bluffing, waiting for me to break, apologize, and submit. But as the days passed, Emma stuck to her so-called strike, strutting through the house as if she had found the ultimate form of control. Each night, she curled up on her side of the bed, phone in hand, scrolling endlessly, while I lay awake staring at the ceiling. What she failed to realize was that her punishment was teaching me something instead. I no longer wanted to fight for someone who treated love as a bargaining chip. I refused to beg or plead. Instead, I poured my energy elsewhere. I threw myself into work, started training at the gym again, and reconnected with old friends she had slowly edged out of my life. Day by day, the emptiness she thought would torment me began to close. My confidence returned, and as I pulled back emotionally, her power over me weakened. Emma noticed. The smugness slipped from her face when she saw I wasn't chasing her like she expected. One weekend, dressed up for a night out with her friends, she leaned in the doorway and teased, "You've been so quiet lately. Missing something, maybe?" She expected me to fold, to admit I needed her, to end the game on her terms. Instead, I smiled and said, "Actually, I'm doing just fine." For the first time, I saw doubt flicker in her eyes. She wasn't the only one who could play this game, and unlike her, I wasn't playing to win. I was playing to be free. By the third week, Emma grew uneasy. She tried to start conversations, brushed against me in the kitchen, even brought up old memories that once made us laugh. But I had already built a wall, brick by brick, with the very weapon she had tried to use against me. I realized something crucial. If she could withhold love to punish me, then what we had wasn't love at all. It was manipulation. The breaking point came one evening when she stormed into the living room, frustration etched on her face. "Why aren't you reacting? You're supposed to care." I set down the book I was reading, looked her in the eye, and said calmly, "I do care, but not about games. If this is what marriage means to you, turning affection into leverage, then maybe you don't deserve what I have to give." The silence that followed was heavy. For once, she realized I wasn't the student in her lesson. I was the teacher. The next day, I made my countermove. At the dining table, I placed an envelope in front of her. Inside was a breakdown of bills, household duties, and expenses, everything I usually handled without complaint. "If you can declare a strike," I told her, "so can I. From now on, I won't fund a lifestyle where love is a weapon. You want control? Then take the responsibility that comes with it." Emma's face went pale as she scanned the papers. She thought withholding intimacy was harmless, a little power play. She hadn't expected me to hit back in a way that shook her comfort and security. She snapped the envelope shut. "You can't be serious." I leaned back. I've never been more serious. Marriage is about partnership, not punishment. If you can't respect me, then I owe you nothing in return. The days that followed weren't what she anticipated. When the bills arrived, I left them on her lap. When her car needed service, I told her to handle it herself. When she complained about the grocery budget, I reminded her. Intimacy wasn't the only thing that could go on strike. Slowly, her smugness vanished. The weight of her actions finally sank in. The power play had backfired. Eventually, Emma broke. She apologized, not with excuses, but with tears and raw honesty. She admitted she never thought her strike would collapse on her, never imagined I would turn the tables so completely. For me, the choice was clear. I wasn't going to live in a marriage where love was transactional. I told her plainly, either we rebuild with respect, or we walk separate paths. That was the move she never anticipated. Not financial, Not emotional, but a choice that forced her to face the truth. For the first time in years, I wasn't the one chasing. And whether she stayed or left, one thing became certain. Emma would never forget the day her intimacy strike turned into her greatest mistake.